Hey, we're about to start the show, and you know the drill. If you've been here before and you have something important to share, please add a capital letter Q to your comment. And if you are watching live for the first time, please let us know by writing the word new, and we'll give you a nice little welcome. Enjoy the broadcast. So guess what? Good morning, everyone. I just posted this comment, but then I had second thoughts and I went online to look for the meaning of brain fart. And I realized that a brain fart is not a good thing. Um, what I meant to say is I had an epiphany. But hey, I just learned something new. Here I was thinking that brain fart is when you all of a sudden have all kinds of good ideas. But don't let me get distracted. This is Coffee and Headlines, and here we are. It's so good to see you this Wednesday, March 6th. Yesterday was very interesting as far as Facebook is concerned. We all had to deal with in and outs and all kinds of things, but everything seems to be back to normal this morning. This morning we have an unusual show because we don't have that many news, but we have a lot of interesting things to talk about. Plus, I had an amazing idea this morning, or I think it is going to be a good idea. Just wait till the end because we're going to feature it at the end. Let us start with something that just made me laugh, as it usually happens. The city has promised to address sewage leaks. Those of us that live here full-time know that Basilio Vadillo, arguably one of the most popular tourist streets in the city, is also Caca Water Central. In this news note, we learned that Francisco Vizcaíno, who is the president of the National Business Owner Alliance, or Coparmex, has been in dialogue with City Hall, and the good news is that the city has vowed to address the problem. The bad news is that it is not exactly clear when they are planning to do that. Oh well, at least the city has made a promise and has acknowledged the fact that it is a problem and it stinks, no pun intended. Now, this is really interesting to me because ever since I was young, I remember the Spartacus Guide as one of the most reputable LGBTQ plus travel resources out there. It is a directory of important gay-friendly destinations all over the world, and Spartacus has been publishing the Gay Travel Index since 2012. Every year, they take a close look at 202 plus countries and regions to determine the places where travelers don't have to fear for their happiness and safety. In their latest findings, they have identified the most queer-friendly travel destinations for 2024. And guess what? Mexico is not on the list. Here we are thinking that Puerto Vallarta is gay Mecca, and according to Spartacus, which I consider a very reputable credible source. The top countries are Canada, Malta, New Zealand, Portugal, Spain, Australia, Switzerland, Denmark, Germany, Iceland, Norway, and Uruguay. This being the only Latin American country on the list. So I was surprised by that. I suppose Puerto Vallarta is very gay friendly, but I'm also aware of the fact that Puerto Vallarta is a one of a kind, exceptional destination within Mexico. And I'm not surprised to imagine that other cities are not as welcoming as Puerto Vallarta is. Just keep that in mind if you're planning to explore other places. Now, let us take a quick look at the weather to find out what is going on out there. And Snarky Weather says, Granny Smirkin, it is sunny. Well, it is, and it is 23 degrees, and it is not very humid. Humidity is very low at 43%. We can start saying goodbye to these non-humid days because, things will start gradually changing fairly soon, hopefully not too soon. Our weather forecast for today says clear skies in the morning with mostly cloudy skies in the afternoon with a high of 27 and a low of 14. Thursday, tomorrow, we'll have partly cloudy skies, high of 27 and a low of 15. And then on Friday, mostly cloudy skies throughout the day with a high of 27 and a low of 14. And that is our weather for today. Now, let me move on to a couple of events, and I have a little bit of show and tell. For starters, once again, Galeria Contempo has reached out to share news of their upcoming artist opening, which will take place this coming Friday, March 8, from 6 to 9 p.m. The featured artist is Guadalajara sculptor Luis Espiridion, who has been creating amazing bronzes for 30 consecutive years. I have loved his work since I arrived in Puerto Vallarta. And I am proud owner of two of his pieces. Here's a little taste for what Luis is known for. He makes these very interesting looking, mostly flat, but very dimensional sculptures. And I just love his work. So if you're out and about, this might be a good thing for you to consider if you're going to be in the Basilio Vadillo area on Friday night. And our dear friend Carmen Porras has asked me to share an additional reminder for their upcoming raicilla-infused open dinner, which is going to take place on March 15 at Oculto. This is promising to be an amazing event because it is going to happen in partnership with a raicilla producer from San Sebastián del Oeste called La Chamana. So Chef Diego Sanchez has prepared a bunch of delicious food that will be paired with raicilla and other products produced by La Chamana. You may want to consider this. And again, this is an event that we found on Facebook, and you can find more information in the show notes if you are interested. Now, this just makes me giddy because these are the kinds of connections that I absolutely love. Check out this photograph. This is the top view from the front of the second story of an ETN bus that is heading to Guadalajara. And those tippy toes that you see on the left, on the bottom of the image, correspond to our very good friend Albert Friss, who is heading to Guadalajara for the first time ever. And I am so excited because it just makes me giddy to learn that other people are interested in exploring other parts of Mexico. So I'm going to be pushing Albert to send us photographs. And of course, I'm going to get together sometime next week when he returns from the city. Now, one of the things that we couldn't do yesterday was to share the content of our meet and greet survey, which was posted online all last week. We had all kinds of wonderful responses, and we had as many responses as we usually get on an average meet and greet. We have only had less than 40 people once, and usually we get anything from 40 to 75 people to show up to our quarterly meet and greets. And I want to show you the results because I asked if you were curious about them and you said yes. So here we go. The survey had a number of questions, of which the first one was, how important is attending scheduled meet and greet gatherings to you? And the vast majority of you, and this is on a scale from 1 to 5, all the questions are from a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being totally unimportant or not important, and number 5 being most important. So this is a helpful confirmation that attending the meet and greet gatherings is important to you. This was the first question. The second one was, how important is connecting with other cluster members at a meet and greet gathering? And again, the vast majority of you said this is very important, which makes me very happy because this is all about making connections with each other and with the things that the city has to offer. That said, I am guilty as charged that sometimes I get too comfortable by hanging out mostly with my friends, but I do try to get around talking to as many people as I can. And in the future, I will encourage more mingling, as this is something that is very important. And, in a couple of past meet and greets, I've asked local business owners to raise their hands so that you can better connect with them, which is also very important. In the next question, I asked, how important is connecting with me at a meet and greet gathering? And most of you said this is very important. And of course, I find this very humbling. I never want to assume that you're there to meet me, but this is nice to know. Thank you very much. Of course, we've never discouraged anyone from having your own gatherings whenever you want. If you're coming into town or you want to make friends and whatnot, the only thing that I have asked people in the past is to not brand them as coffee and headlines events. This is you going about making friends on your own. But once again, thank you. I'll make sure that I never miss a meet and greet gathering in the future. And then the last one, how important is live music during a meet and greet? No, there's another one after this one. And your majority of answers was kind of in the middle, not important, not unimportant. I must say that I find this very interesting. Personally, in the last few months, I've increasingly shied from restaurants that feature live music during dinner time because more often than not, it is too loud for comfortable conversation to flourish. And comfortable conversation is extremely important to me during meet and greets. So in the future, we will continue to make sure that meet and greets either have very mellow live music, like one time we had traditional Mexican marimba, and that was very well received, or no music at all. And then the last question had to do with whether at a meet and greet you favor being able to order from your own menu if you're fine with whatever is offered or whether it makes no difference. And it is a tie between being able to order from the menu and it makes no difference. I personally favor the menu, and I would like to tell you why. This is because by offering the standard menu, we're not expecting the restaurant to do anything above what they usually order. All we're expecting the restaurant is to make sure that they have enough for everyone. Of course, if a restaurant comes to us and says, well, it is more convenient for us to offer a buffet or something like that, then we would definitely keep that in mind. I'm glad to see that this is the way it is, because the last thing we would want to do at a meet and greet is to create more trouble for the restaurant. And then at the end of the survey, there was an open question for additional thoughts that you may have had. We are not going to share this part here. All I'm going to tell you is that we had very nurturing feedback in the following ways. It was nurturing because it had the whole gamut of people that are very group oriented, and they had very wonderful suggestions for the group to meet better as a group. And then there was the other side of that, which there were very personal oriented responses that had more to do with what would make it better for you as an individual to enjoy yourselves at meet and greet. And this is not bad, because what it is to me is that it shows the gamut, the range of expectations that you have during meet and greet. So all this information will be taken into account, along with any comments that you may have right now. And I will definitely be looking for your capital letter Q's for that during our comment section later on. And now, with your permission, I'd like to geek out just a little bit about promotional resources for event organizers. And then I want to share a brilliant non-brain fart idea that I had just this morning. Let me start by showing you, and this is going to seem like a shameless plug, and maybe it is, but that's okay, I suppose. When I do Coffee and Headlines, I go looking for Facebook events every morning. Every single morning, I go looking at Facebook events. And if I find an event that I think will be interesting to you, I take a poster shot of the event cover and I include it here. And of course, this is a poster shot of my own event. But let me switch over to Safari, to my browser, so that I can show you some interesting things. This is my Safari events look. And what I do every morning is I go into the Discover Events section here just to see what's going on. But in order to find out what's going on in Puerto Vallarta, I go here to my location. I type Puerto Vallarta, and there is our city. I click on that, and boom, there are the events that are coming up in Puerto Vallarta. So I scroll through all of these, and notice this one here. This one has a little play icon in it, and this is for the Vinoma Fest. And when I mentioned the Vinoma Fest just a few days ago, I thought, how interesting. This has a play icon. And this is when I discovered, and I feel like I've been living under a rock, that you can now put a video on your event cover, which provides event organizers with additional ways to share information about their events. So this is what I did for myself. First of all, let me come back to my own events and notice how Tony Bennett now has that same icon on top of it. And before I show you my event, notice how the vast majority of events in Puerto Vallarta have not discovered this feature yet. Just about no one is putting videos on top of on their events on Facebook. But because we want everybody to do well, of course, we want as many people to learn about this as possible. And I am so glad that there are, let's see how many of you are watching today live. A healthy 52. I love it. Okay, so back to what I'm trying to show you. Now, if I click on the Tony Bennett event, what I've done is I created a short video with lots of large text for people to see what the event is about. Why? Because not a lot of people are in the habit of clicking at the sound volume. So this particular video does not have any sound. But look at what happens if I go back to my other upcoming event, which is Dueling Versions, and it looks like this. And of course, you cannot hear the sound. Let me see why. Oh, because I haven't turned it on, of course. And that is why I put that little arrow there. So let me see.
In a world where music transcends time and space, witness the intimate elegance of solo performances.
And I'm not gonna.
And the
I'm
grandeur
gonna
of
stop
orchestral
this. Hold on
renditions.
just a second. I'm gonna stop this right now.
Two interpretations, one masterpiece.
Hold
Paco
on. I'm gonna stop this because I'm realizing that when I put my video there, it is a very high resolution video. So I'm just learning another lesson as I'm doing this. I am learning. Well, let's get rid of my Facebook page. I am learning, number one, that it is a good idea to remind people to click on the button where you're supposed to turn the volume up. And number two, that if you're going to stream the video for your event, you might as well make sure that it is encoded at low resolution so that people that are watching online can see it. And if you're curious as to what my video looked like, I do have it ready to show in a lower resolution. Check it out.
Music transcends time and space. Witness the intimate elegance of solo performances. And the grandeur of orchestral renditions. Two interpretations, one masterpiece. Paco Ojeda on Music presents Dueling Versions, comparing solo and orchestral arrangements in classical masterpieces. Join us on a captivating journey as we compare and contrast these dueling versions and experience the magic of musical transformation. Don't miss this opportunity to delve into the rich tapestry of classical genius. Join us on Thursday, March 21st at 5 p.m. at the Joint Boutique Hotel and Co-work.
Okay, so that's what I'm doing for myself. But the brain non-fart that I had this morning, and I am so happy to see the likes of Joshua and his tie-dyes. I'm so happy to see you, Gouda, because I'm thinking about you, and you inspired this idea. You see, Gouda has variety shows, and what Gouda does with her variety shows is to invite other artists to come and perform one song or maybe two, or I don't know how many, so that people will get excited to go to their shows. So guess what? Coffee and Headlines is going to have its own upcoming events variety show. Yes. And this is how it's going to work. Well, at least the pilot idea that I have. Because everybody wants to go and do things. Everybody wants to learn about interesting things that are going on in the city. So what would it look like? And I'm very interested in your feedback. What would it look like if once a week we had a separate upcoming event variety show in which event organizers that we know and love, and anyone that wants to tell us about what they have coming up could actually join the broadcast as interviewees and tell us a little bit about their event. This would accomplish a couple of things. Number one, it would allow me the opportunity to squeeze additional information from them. It would allow all of us to learn more about who these event organizers are and why it is important to attend. And these would benefit not only English-speaking locals, but also voyagers, travelers, and tourists, I suppose, that are planning to visit Puerto Vallarta in the future. If we do this live once a week, then these special upcoming event variety shows could live on YouTube, just as our broadcasts live on YouTube. And that way we could do even more to help local event organizers expand and connect with the captive audience that we already have here. You let me know what you think about that. Joshua says Lucy is very shy about being on camera. Well, so was I when I started doing coffee and headlines. Trust me. If you are doing FaceTime, if you are video connecting with your friends, if you are already using your phone or your laptop or your tablet to connect with others through audio and video, you should be able to do this. And that is the end of my non-brain fart idea. I beg of you to comment on that one because I am so giddy about this. I might even do one this Saturday if I can plan ahead for some people to come online and tell us about what they're up to. What a great way to combine awareness of an event, interview with interesting locals, and connections, which is what we do here. That's the end of my announcement. And now let's see what your thoughts are about everything that we have discussed so far. As always, I'm looking for capital letter Qs. Otherwise, I might miss out on your comments. But I thank you for all the good mornings. They are much appreciated. Oh, yes. Den and Logan and I went to see Dune Part 2. It was amazing. But you do need to be a little fluent on Fremen or Spanish if you want to read the subtitles. There's a lot of Fremen dialogue in the movie. And you'll do okay if you don't know Fremen or Spanish, but you might miss a couple of important points. Let's see what else we have. John says, I'm returning to Puerto Vallarta in July. See, John may be wondering what's going on in the week that he is going to be here or the weeks that he's going to be here. So there you have it. There is a cue from Kathy. Kathy here, it might be fun to do a smaller meet and greet for Coffee and Headlines members only, which means that the notification would only go to members, and we would probably want to get an RSVP so that we can alert the location ahead of time. But I think that is a wonderful idea. Thank you very much, Kathy. I hope you're feeling better than yesterday. I know you were a little under the weather, but good vibes going at you. Let's see. Let's see. Jim says, keep having epiphanies, Paco. I find that brain farts become more common than epiphanies as I grow older. My brain fart see, I have forgotten my brain fart this morning. Oh no, I can tell you what my brain fart was this morning. And you will appreciate this. You know, it comes with age. I took my shower and I, got myself dressed, and I always spray a little bit of bug repellent on my feet because when I'm working at home, I'm always barefoot and my feet are very popular. So I'm in the bathroom and I reached out for my underarm deodorant spray can, and I was about to go for my feet, and I said to myself, Paco, that is not the container that you should be looking for. And that was my brain fart for this morning. Moving right along, Betsy, I am loving you because you are so amazing and you know it. Betsy always comes to my music appreciation things, and I love it when you geek out with me. Love it, love it. I'm going to put this over here again. Lucy, or anyone that is shy in front of the camera, get over it. Really, and I'm not being mean and nasty. Remember, the more we put ourselves out there to promote who we are and what we do, the more successful we're going to be. And Lucy, you know that I admire what you do and I believe in you, and I've loved the Hecho a Mano events, and you just fucking do it. There you go. Let's see. I see people liking the idea. Uh, Spencer says every 2 weeks is a better start. I actually don't know the answer or whether that is true or not. We'll see. I mean, if there's a demand for it, we'll do it. If I see that people are not tuning in or not interested in sharing their events, then, we'll try. We can try it for a little while and see how it goes. I have a problem with Zoom meetings. I'm sorry to hear that, Alan. We are not going to be using Zoom. And I wonder what your problem with Zoom meeting is. Mellow music is great for meet and greets. Also name tags. Well, the good news, Frank, is that we always have name tags. And sometimes we've had mellow music. Sometimes it hasn't happened. But moving forward, we're going to continue to be mindful of that. On meet and greets, it would be nice to have a cocktail hour before we settle down to order dinner. Let me react to that, Diane, and let me tell you what it makes me think about. I am not shy of my age, and I am not blind to the fact that the vast majority of audience here at Coffee and Headlines is of a certain age. And I know from my own experience that, I can stand for a while, but after a while, I want to sit down. I want to make sure that there's going to be a place to sit for me. So while cocktail hour sounds interesting to me, I just want to make sure that people have the assurance that they're going to be able to sit down based on our average demographics. And that is my reaction to your comment. You all let me know how you feel about that. Because, doing a meet and greet where everybody is standing and cocktailing would be a lot simpler than relying on a meet and greet where there's food involved. But I've never thought of that as a popular option for us, just because I know that a lot of people need or want a place to sit down. So let me know your thoughts about that as long as we're discussing this. Sherry, all I can say is buen viaje. I know that you've been here for quite some time. I know that you and David have soaked yourselves with all kinds of wonderful experiences. I will miss you, and I look forward to seeing you when you return. Let's see. Usually technically challenged with Zoom. Alan, I appreciate that. I'm not going to shame you for that. I'm going to, quite the contrary, share that the more time passes by, the more I become technically challenged with all kinds of things in my life. Like I refuse to buy an air fryer. I don't have counter space for it, and I'm intimidated by it. I have done a lot of research, Alan, on what would be a good platform to do the things that we do. And trust me, the solution that we will be using is as browser friendly as it gets. So hopefully you will not run into troubles. And this brings us to the end of your comments, which means that it brings us to the end of your broadcast. And again, Sherry, I love you guys back. Every time that you come, you give me more of an opportunity to get to know you better, and I love that. And that, my friends, is the end of Coffee and Headlines for today. As always, I am so grateful for your comments and your suggestions to build better connections, better projects here at Coffee and Headlines. It is all about you because, as you know, we could not do it without you. It's challenging out there with the rate exchange. I will say that much. The rate exchange, because all our revenue comes or is gathered in the United States in US dollars, it's been increasingly challenging. I know it's been challenging for some of you to travel to Mexico as well because of the rate exchange. So do know that every coffee that you buy every membership you pursue helps us a great deal in continuing what we set out to do every single day, which is to create nurturing connections between ourselves, between each other, and between us and the destinations. I feel good about that. So I hope you feel good about that, and I hope I'll see you again soon. And I thank you, as always, for keeping me company every morning, except for Sundays. And I hope to see you again sometime soon. Take care.